So this is going to be another movie review. This one's called The Roaring Twenties. Giving it 3 out of 5 stars. I thought the ending was fantastic. The rest of the total garbage. It exceeded my expectations after I watched the first hour or so. First hour, 30 minutes, I would say, are pretty bad. It's a 1939 U.S. crime thriller film directed by Raoul Walsh. Don't know who that is. Starring James Cagney, Priscilla Lane. She was in Saboteur. I better put her name in the description box. Humphrey, Bogart, and Gladys George. I don't know anything about Gladys George. Sorry. The film, spanning the periods between 1919 and 1933, was written by Jerry Wald, Richard Macaulay, and Robert Rosen. I don't know any of those three dudes. The film follows three men and their experiences during major events in the 1920s, such as Prohibition-era violence and the 1929 stock market crash. I didn't like how they blamed a black market for alcohol, not on prohibition, but on greed, corruption, and lust for money. I didn't like. I also didn't like. What was the other thing I didn't like? I can't remember now. It's kind of long. It's an hour 50 minutes. They should have shortened it quite a bit, I think. And the picture is based on The World Moves On, a short story by Mark Hellinger, columnist who had been hired by Jack L. Warner to write screenplays. Supposedly this Hellinger guy used to dress up like a mobster back in the 20s. He used to hang out with these people. And so he has some insight on what actually happened during the Roaring Twenties. The movie is hailed as a classic in the gangster movie genre, considered an homage to the classic gangster movie of the early 1930s. I don't know how this passed the code. I guess they had to tailor the ending so that so that it looks like crime doesn't pay. Anyways, The Roaring Twenties was the third and last film that Cagney and Bogart made together. The other two were Angels with Dirty Faces, much better movie, a better ending, and The Oklahoma Kid, 1939. Angels with Dirty Faces was 1938. I've not seen The Oklahoma Kid. Eddie Bartlett, George Hawley, and Lloyd Hart meet each other in a foxhole during the final days of World War I. Following the war's end, Lloyd starts his law practice. George becomes a bootlegger, and Eddie becomes a cab driver. While unknowingly delivering a package of liquor to Panama Smith, Eddie is arrested. Panama is acquitted, and after a short stint in jail, they go into the bootlegging business together. Eddie uses a fleet of cabs to deliver his liquor, and he hires Lloyd as his lawyer to handle his legal issues. Oh, now I know why I dislike this movie. Not necessarily because it was too long, but it is an hour and 54 minutes, I think. An hour 44 minutes? It says on Wikipedia. I thought it was longer than that. Okay. But The James Cagney gangster character is a total wussy. I'm sorry, but this is James Cagney's last gangster film for another 10 years. And he went out with the whimper, really. You got Humphrey Bogart playing second fiddle to James Cagney again, third time. And James Cagney is just. I thought Humphrey Bogart was smarter than James Cagney because at least he survived the stock market crash. Anyways, I'm jumping ahead here. He encounters Jean Sherman, a girl he formerly corresponded with during the war. And he gets her a job singing in Panama's club. He had to beg for it. She's a good singer, though. But Panama is jealous. Panama's like this ugly, middle-aged, white blondie who's in love with Eddie, but Eddie's got the hots for Jean Sherman. Eddie wants Jean as his wife, giving her an engagement ring that he asks her to hold on to until he saves enough money to quit the criminal rackets. I guess saving money means putting in the stock market, not in a bank account. Because later on, Eddie has problems covering his positions when the stock market crashes in 1929. Eddie and his henchmen hijack a shipment of liquor belonging to fellow bootlegger Nick Brown. Who had refused to cooperate with him. Yeah, he's too busy eating his spaghetti. He doesn't want to deal with riffraff. In charge of the liquor shipment is George, who proposes that Eddie bring him in as partner. Eddie agrees, and back home they inform the authorities about one of Brown's liquor shipments. After the shipment is confiscated, Eddie and George raid the warehouse and they steal it. As they are leaving, George recognizes one of the watchmen as his former sergeant that he disliked, and he murders him. He promised to get back, so he got his revenge. Bogart is supposed to be the good guy, and Cagney is supposed to be. Bogart is supposed to be the bad guy. Cagney is supposed to be the good guy, but I didn't see them quite that way. Not quite. I thought Cagney was weak and sort of. He's kind of like a Montgomery Clift and in the Red River, that kind of character. Anyway, after learning of the murder, Lloyd cuts ties with George, who then threatens to kill Lloyd if he informs on them. As the bootlegging rackets prosper, Eddie sends his friend Danny to arrange a truce with Brown, but Danny's corpse is dropped off in front of Panama's club. Eddie goes after Brown, but George, resentful of Eddie's increasing power, tips off Brown, who sets a trap. Gunfight ensues, and Eddie manages to kill Brown, even while Humphrey Bogart tipped him off. Humphrey Bogart doesn't want to be Cagney's lackey. Suspecting George's betrayal but unable to prove it, Eddie dissolves their partnership. Bad decision. Eddie soon discovers that Jean has never really loved him, in fact, and is in fact in love with Lloyd. Everybody knew that except for Cagney. Until now. Subsequently, after investing in the stock market, Eddie's bootlegging empire crumbles in the 1929 crash, and he's forced to sell his cab company to George at a price far below its value. Yeah, he sold it for $250,000. It was worth like $2 million. George mockingly leaves Eddie one cab for himself, stating that Eddie will soon be forced to go back to being a cab driver. Very astute, very prescient observation by Humphrey Bogart. I think Humphrey Bogart's got the brains to be a gangster. I mean, this guy is ruthless. Cagney is a wimp. One day, Gene hails Eddie's cab, and he renews his acquaintances with her and with Lloyd, meeting their young son. Lloyd now works at the district attorney's office and is preparing a case against George. So Cagney punched Lloyd in the face when he found out that his best friend took his girl. It sounds like a Cars song. But then he let it go, and now he's super sentimental because they have a little kid. Okay, so the counter leaves Eddie despondent as he still harbors feelings toward Gene. He becomes an alcoholic. Sounds like me when I was in my early 20s. I couldn't get what I wanted. When Jean discovers that George is planning to have Lloyd killed, she appeals to Eddie for help. He initially declines, but ultimately decides to go to George's house to ask him to have mercy on the couple. Yeah, good luck with that. Humphrey Bogart? I don't think so. While there, Eddie is mocked again by George for his shabby looks. He says his pants are in tatters. He's drunk. He hasn't shaved. His hair is disheveled. What's wrong with this guy? He went from riches to rags. He then decides to have Eddie killed as he believes that Eddie will inform on him in order to help Gene, resulting in a shootout in which Eddie kills George, some of his men. Oh. That's pretty spectacular when Cagney shoots Humphrey Bogart. He's surprised that Cagney would do that because he's such a wussy up to that point. He's not willing to I mean, the whole idea that he was sort of forced into working for his speakeasy is kind of dumb. I don't like that. I mean, did this Hellinger person actually know somebody like that? Or why don't they blame prohibition instead of greed for the for the soldiers who came home from the war to fight against prohibition and to make huge profits? I mean, it's just like the drug war. When you make something illegal, it just makes the price go up and it makes it more profitable for people to engage in earn a quick buck. And I don't know why Cagney is like that. He said he wanted to work at his old place, some car repair shop, but he couldn't get a job there because they already had enough people. So he gave up on that. He was going to save money and start his own garage shop. But he got tempted by the almighty dollar in this one. He's a greedy white male, swine of a capitalist pig. He's the ultimate corruption in terms of gangster character. But he manages to have a heart for his ex-girlfriend's kid. Oh, man. This movie has so many contradictions, but I just love the ending. Ending was great. Great acting. Cagney knows how to do a great ending. He had an even better ending in Angels with Dirty Faces. Like I said, So that's my fifth and final review for today. I'm trying to make up for yesterday. I got all the Netflix stuff done. I'm almost done with Track of the Moon Beast. I've got about 30 minutes left on that one. I don't know any of the actors in it. Gets a very low 2.2 out of 10 on IMDb, 3,687 votes. So it's well. I think it was riffed by Mystery Science Theater 3000. Oh. $19.99 MST3K. I'm not watching that version. I'm watching the Cult Cinema Classics version. I try to add as many Cult Cinema Classics as I can. Those are usually the very low rated, so bad that they're good type movies that we love and adore and worship on this channel. Those are the gems that Adrian looks for. Like that one horror anthology with John Carradine and Lon Chaney. Oh boy. When I put up on review that one, Adrian paid attention. he was chasing that one. Cool. All right. Good stuff. Fun times. Thanks for checking out my channel. Commenting is much appreciated. And overall, I'm giving this 3 out of 5 stars. I thought the bonus features were about as good as the movie itself, which is saying a lot because usually the the shorts I don't like, or I absolutely hate. But this one had a couple of. This one had a really good one in the beginning, and then you work your way down, and it starts going down in terms of quality. Because you got the musical, which is great, then you got the comedy, which is okay. The Elmer Fudd dude in the library, that was somewhat amusing, I have to admit. I mean, it wasn't completely unfunny. And then at the bottom of the barrel is the cartoon, which didn't generate one laugh from me. I think it's geared toward 10 and under, the cartoon, but cool. It was a lot more than I expected, honestly. After I watched the first hour and a half, I thought, oh man, this movie stinks. What is James Cagney doing as a wussy gangster? Later.